The world has been fixated on the Jeffrey Epstein saga, a sordid tale of wealth, power, and depravity. The media, controlled by the very forces it should be exposing, has presented a limited and sanitized version of events. They want you to believe this was merely the work of one deviant billionaire and his accomplices. But this is a carefully constructed lie, designed to conceal a truth so monstrous it would shatter the foundations of our perceived reality. The Epstein network was never just about human trafficking. It was a crucial component of a much older, darker agenda, a system of control and ritualistic abuse orchestrated by entities that are not entirely human. What we have been shown is only the tip of a colossal iceberg. As we stand here in early 2026, the promised transparency from the Trump administration has proven to be a cruel mirage. The so-called release of the Epstein files in December 2025 was a masterclass in deception. We were handed thousands of pages of heavily redacted documents, a chaotic mess of public tips and irrelevant information, while the real evidence, the flight logs, the unredacted victim testimonies, the data from over 60 seized electronic devices, remains locked away. Attorney General Pam Bondi's earlier promises of big revelations have evaporated, replaced by official statements denying the existence of a client list. This is not incompetence. It is a deliberate, coordinated cover-up to protect the guilty and preserve the system they command. The political theater surrounding these files is a distraction. The infighting, the resignations like that of Marjorie Taylor Greene, and the public backlash are all part of the grand illusion. They keep the masses arguing over left versus right, Trump versus his critics, while the true puppet masters watch from the shadows, their identities shielded by the chaos they create. The real story is not about which politician is implicated, but why these powerful individuals were participating in these horrific acts. The answer lies in understanding that this network serves a non-human intelligence, a parasitic consciousness that feeds on human energy, particularly the potent energy of fear and suffering generated through unspeakable rituals. The Epstein case is the thread that, if pulled, will unravel the entire tapestry of control that has been woven around humanity for millennia. It connects the world's most powerful figures in politics, finance, science, and entertainment to a global trafficking network. But it goes deeper still, linking this network to secret underground bases, ancient bloodlines, and a reptilian race of shapeshifters who have manipulated human society from the dawn of time. They are the hidden hand, the architects of our wars, our economic collapses, and our social divisions. Exposing the truth of Epstein is the first step towards exposing them all and reclaiming our planet and our sovereignty. In the desolate landscape of New Mexico, Jeffrey Epstein's Zorro Ranch stood as more than just a reclusive billionaire's hideaway. It was a purpose-built facility, a modern temple designed for ancient, nefarious purposes. Outwardly, it was a sprawling 10,000-acre property with a private airstrip, but its true secrets were buried deep beneath the arid soil. The main residence, a vast and opulent structure, was merely the entrance to a far more sinister domain. Leaked information and whistleblower accounts have long spoken of the massive 8,000-square-foot subterranean level, a detail the mainstream media conveniently overlooks. This underground complex was the heart of the ranch's operations, a place where the darkest rituals could be conducted far from prying eyes. This was not simply a basement or a wine cellar. It was an engineered labyrinth designed for entrapment and psychological torment. Its purpose was to serve the grotesque appetites of the global elite who frequented the property. These powerful figures were not merely flying in for parties. They were participants in ceremonies that have their roots in the darkest corners of ancient history. The underground levels provided the perfect, isolated environment for these activities, ensuring absolute secrecy and control over their victims. The very architecture of Zorro Ranch was a weapon, its hidden passages and soundproofed chambers integral to the systematic abuse that took place within its walls. The isolation of the New Mexico desert was chosen with strategic precision. It provided not only privacy from the outside world, but also proximity to a nexus of other clandestine activities. The American Southwest is riddled with what are known as deep underground military bases, or DUMBs, vast subterranean cities connected by high-speed maglev train systems. Zorro Ranch was not a standalone facility. It was a private entrance, a bespoke access point to this sprawling underground empire. The tunnels beneath Epstein's property were allegedly connected to this wider network, allowing for the discreet transport of people, both predators and prey, without ever surfacing. The ranch's private airstrip and helipad were the public-facing logistics, but the true trafficking network operated in the darkness below. This explains how so many individuals, particularly children, could be moved in and out of the property without a significant public trace. It was a seamless system of abduction and distribution, feeding a horrifying supply chain that services the ritualistic needs of the elite. Zorro Ranch was a critical node in this global web, a place where the human world intersected with the subterranean realm of the entities that secretly govern our planet. Understanding the function of the ranch is to understand the sheer scale and organization of this conspiracy. The chilling reality of what transpired within Zorro Ranch and other Epstein properties is brought into sharp focus by the courageous testimonies of survivors. These accounts, often suppressed or dismissed by the controlled media, paint a consistent and terrifying picture. They speak of hidden rooms accessed through secret panels, of hallways that seem to shift, and of an overwhelming sense of being trapped in a maze. One survivor described being led down a spiral staircase into a soundproofed chamber decorated with bizarre and disturbing occult symbols. She recounted how the very air seemed to crackle with a malevolent energy, a feeling of being watched not just by her human captors, but by something else entirely. These harrowing stories are corroborated by leaked architectural plans and insider reports that have surfaced in the deep corners of the internet, far from the sanitized search results of Google. These documents allegedly show blueprints for levels far below the known subterranean floor of Zorro Ranch. They detail complex ventilation systems, reinforced blast doors, and even small cell-like rooms with no windows. The level of security and containment depicted in these plans goes far beyond what would be necessary for a private residence, even one owned by a paranoid billionaire. It speaks to a facility designed to hold people against their will, a prison disguised as a luxury estate. The elaborate security measures were not just to keep outsiders from getting in. They were designed to ensure that those brought inside could never get out. Survivors have spoken of doors that would lock behind them, of corridors that led to dead ends, and of a disorienting layout that made escape impossible. This was psychological warfare embedded in architecture. The design was meant to induce feelings of hopelessness and terror, emotions that are highly prized by the parasitic entities that feed on them. The human predators were merely the caretakers of the farm. The real harvest was the emotional and spiritual energy, the so-called Loosh, generated by the victims' suffering. Furthermore, insiders have reported the presence of advanced, non-commercial technology throughout these facilities. This includes advanced surveillance systems capable of monitoring every corner of the property, as well as more esoteric devices allegedly used for mind control and energy harvesting. The experiences of survivors, when combined with these leaked plans and whistleblower reports, transform the Epstein case from a criminal enterprise into something far more profound. We are looking at a highly sophisticated, technologically advanced system of human farming, operating right under our noses and protected by the highest echelons of global power. The tunnels were not just passageways, they were conduits for a cosmic horror. The tunnels beneath Zorro Ranch were not an isolated phenomenon. They are the key to understanding how Epstein's private evil connected to a global conspiracy of unimaginable scope. These tunnels are believed to link directly into the vast network of deep underground military bases, or DUMBs, that crisscross the planet. This subterranean empire, built with trillions of dollars siphoned from black budgets, is the operational headquarters for the shadow government and their non-human masters. Bases like Dulce Base, also in New Mexico, and Pine Gap in Australia, are infamous in whistleblower circles as centers for horrifying genetic experiments, human-alien hybridization programs, and advanced technology development. Epstein's ranch, therefore, was a private portal to this underworld. It allowed the global elite, the politicians, royals, and corporate titans to travel discreetly to these hidden facilities to partake in their rituals and to interface with the reptilian intelligences that control them. The trafficking of children was not merely for the gratification of human abusers, it was a vital supply chain for the experiments and energy-harvesting rituals conducted in these bases. Whistleblowers like the late Phil Schneider, a geological engineer who claimed to have worked on constructing these bases, spoke of violent conflicts between humans and the resident non-human species, and of vast halls filled with captive humans in cages. The connection between Epstein's network and these DUMBs explains the level of protection he received from intelligence agencies and governments worldwide. He was not just a useful asset for blackmailing powerful people. He was a high-level manager for the human resource division of this breakaway civilization. His operation was essential for maintaining the secrecy of the underground world and for servicing the needs of its controllers. The global child trafficking epidemic, which sees millions vanish each year, is not random chaos. It is a highly organized global operation to supply the DUMBs with biological material and sources of ritualistic energy. This is the secret that the establishment is so desperate to hide. The release of heavily redacted Epstein files is a tactic to keep the public focused on the human-level drama, to prevent us from looking down into the abyss that lies beneath our feet. They fear that if the existence of Zoro Ranch's tunnels is proven, the public will start asking what they connect to. That question leads directly to the DUMBs, and from there to the reality of the reptilian presence and their complete infiltration of human power structures. The Epstein case is the key that unlocks the door to the biggest secret in human history, that we are not alone, and our rulers are not who we think they are. To truly comprehend the horrors of the Epstein network, we must look beyond the last few decades and delve into the shadows of ancient history. The rituals of abuse, child sacrifice, and energy vampirism are not new inventions. They are the continuation of practices that have been performed for thousands of years by secret societies in service to ancient gods. Many of these deities, like the Canaanite entity Baal or the Mesopotamian Moloch, were depicted as demanding child sacrifice in exchange for power and wealth. These were not myths. They were historical accounts of rituals performed for interdimensional, non-human entities, the very same entities known in modern research as the reptilian shapeshifters. Ancient texts from across the world, from the Sumerian tablets to the Bible, speak of serpent gods or shining ones who came from the stars, interbred with humanity, and created hybrid bloodlines to rule on their behalf. These bloodlines, the royal families and the elite dynasties, have passed their power down through the generations, not just through genetics, but through the continuation of these dark, energy-harvesting rituals. They are genetically and vibrationally more compatible with the reptilian consciousness, allowing them to serve as the perfect puppets, the middlemen between the reptilian masters and the human population. The names and faces change, but the bloodlines and the agenda remain the same. The Epstein operation was a modern expression of this ancient cult. The trafficking and abuse of children served the same purpose as the ancient sacrifices to Baal, to generate intense, low-vibrational emotional energy, fear, pain, terror, upon which these parasitic entities feed. It is their food source, their ambrosia. Furthermore, the trauma of the ritual abuse is used as a method of mind control, shattering the psyche of the victims to create programmable slaves, and also to initiate the elite participants deeper into the cult, binding them through shared atrocities. It is a system of control at every level, powered by the life force of the innocent. These reptilian bloodlines and their human agents have systematically consolidated their control over every pillar of society. They control the global financial system through central banks, ensuring perpetual debt and servitude. They control the media, which acts as their propaganda arm to shape public perception and hide their existence. They control the pharmaceutical industry to keep the population sick and docile, and they control the technology sector, hoarding advanced knowledge for themselves while feeding us technological scraps. The Epstein network was a nexus where all these pillars of control converged, a place where the elite renewed their pacts with their dark gods and reinforced their power over the human race. The exposure of this vast conspiracy, though terrifying, is the catalyst for our liberation. The darkness is being forced into the light, and humanity is waking up from its long slumber. This great awakening is our path to freedom, and it begins with a conscious choice to reject the official narrative and seek the truth, no matter how uncomfortable. The first step is this mass awakening itself, sharing information, questioning everything, and breaking the spell of the mainstream media. We must become the media now. The truth of the reptilian agenda and their control system is spreading like wildfire, and once a critical mass of people knows, the game is over for them. The second step is to engage in spiritual defense. This is not a conventional war fought with guns, but a battle for consciousness fought with frequency and vibration. The reptilian entities and their system thrive on fear, hatred, and division. We must consciously choose to embody the opposite: love, compassion, and unity. By raising our own personal frequency, we become incompatible with their low-vibrational control grid. Meditation, a focus on heart-centered consciousness, and rejecting the fear they relentlessly promote are our most powerful weapons. We must starve the parasites of the negative emotional energy they crave for their survival. Third, we must reclaim our economic independence. The reptilian control system is built upon a foundation of debt-based central banking. We can break free by moving towards decentralized systems, supporting local economies, bartering, and using alternative currencies that they cannot manipulate. Fourth, we must reclaim our technology. For decades, incredible technologies for free energy, advanced healing, and interstellar travel have been suppressed by the cabal. As their control structure crumbles, whistleblowers must be encouraged to come forward and release this knowledge for the benefit of all humanity, not just the elite. Finally, we must continue to demand full, unredacted disclosure and pursue peaceful, non-compliant action. The failure of the Trump administration to deliver on its promises regarding the Epstein files shows that we cannot rely on any political savior. We, the people, are the saviors we have been waiting for. Through mass non-compliance with their tyrannical dictates and relentless peaceful pressure for the truth about Epstein, the DUMBs, and the alien presence, we will dismantle their house of cards. Do not despair. The sheer scale of their cover-up is a sign of their desperation. They are afraid because they know we are waking up. Victory is not just possible. It is inevitable. The truth shall set us free.